All right, here we go. Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. On today's roundtable, it's a game show. We're going to talk about you, your budget, and how to budget better with our resident physician, the guy who's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, Doc G. Also joining us is the woman who will help you afford anything with any amount of money, but it better be in the budget, Paula Pant. And finally, a guy who's seemingly unaffected by anything, budget or not, OG. But that's not all. Halfway through our game show, I'll pause for another better game, my matching trivia question. And now a guy who always gives 100%, except when he's given blood, it's Joe Saul-Sehy. Nailed it.
Oh, I love it when we go with the old standby dad joke. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Welcome back to the greatest money show on earth, the Stacking Benjamin Show. We're so happy you're here. Sit back and relax because today is game show day. And when you have a game show, that means you have to have some participants. So let's meet them. I feel like I need the game show meet. And he's 45 years old. Remember the dating game, Doug?
Oh, yeah. I was on it.
From California, loves drinking smoothies and working out, it's Mr. OG.
Neither 45 nor from California, but I'll take it.
But you do
but
like
he loves
smoothies.
But the smoothie part is accurate.
And you hate working out.
No, I can get, sun's out, guns out, baby.
Yes. And she's way, way, way young, resides in Pasadena. Paula Pant from Afford Anything.
Yes, I don't think I've ever been to Pasadena, but maybe this is my sign to go.
Oh,
maybe
lovely.
it is. Maybe that is
very pretty.
That is. And he's the guy who said, "Who needs hair to be sexy?" From the Earn and Invest podcast. Doc G joins us.
The hair comment is not the only reason I feel picked on. Given the fact that we know that trivia is not my strong suit, Joe, you put me on a show that's a game show that we're going to be doing trivia the whole time. I mean, really?
You've been hoodwinked.
I think this is great too. We got OG who has said that he's the put it on the credit card statement and budget. Paula, which is
And YOLO, not and budget. And YOLO.
And YOLO. Paula, who's the anti-budgeter. And I think, Doc G, you're the never budgeter.
Correct.
Well, yeah, we've
I
got
try to stay away from it if possible.
Well, that's why I actually thought this topic would be fun. So let's get into it. But you know what we got to get into first, Doc?
What do we have to get into? Because I'm excited to hear.
Oh, yeah, it's that this episode is brought to you by State Farm, of course. If you own a small business, whatever your business might be, like running game shows, you need somebody who understands. And that's where State Farm Small Business Insurance comes in. State Farm agents or small business owners do, and they know what it takes. They can help you choose personalized policies that fit your budget. Small business insurance from State Farm, like a good neighbor. State Farm's there. Talk to your local agent today. By the way, State Farm is not our only sponsor. We have a couple great sponsors who make sure this show is always free so we can bring it to you 3 days a week. And here's a couple awesome sponsors right now. All right, we got OG, Doc G, we got the G's, we got Paula G, non-G, Paula P.
Paula P.
Doc G, OG, and Paula P.
Paula P.
are all here with neighbor Doug and me. So let's get this party started. Oh boy.
The whitest rap ever performed.
I think that might have been a few people just got grossed out by that.
My middle initial is also P. You could call me Triple P.
This is a Paula PP. No,
Yeah,
that's
it sounds like you need a medication for that.
might not want,
Triple
might
P.
not want that. Yes, go visit your local urologist today. Today's piece, I'm going to give credit to the person who wrote this later. She's an amazing blogger and YouTuber and podcaster, and she talks a lot about budgets. And she has this awesome piece that we're using for today's game show, 15 items missing from your budget. This will be for 2 points toward winning our year-long competition, and another point for whoever wins today's trivia. So the winner going home with maybe 3 points. This could break the tie wide open, guys. Joe's mom, my mom, has 6 points. She never plays on behalf of herself. So, Doc, today you're playing for mom. That's always a worthy cause. OG has 6. Paula has 6. Based on last year, the way we're going to do this is Paula will guess then last. Let's see. OG will guess second. And because mom's taken over for Len Penzo, who won last year, that means, Doc, in the first round, you're going to go first. So we will do a 1 point round, and then we'll do a 2 point round later. 15 items. Here is the topic, guys. You have your budget. You guys know this. You have your budget, even if you don't budget. There are these things that come at you out of the blue that even people that are good at budgets go, oh my God, I forgot that. And it totally wrecks the budget. So 15 items that probably should be on your budget, but are probably missing from your budget. That is today's topic. And so 15 items on the list. Doc, you've got first crack at it. What do you think is a budget buster?
I think people forget taxes. I think they forget their taxes all the time and don't include them, especially because a lot of them are taken out of your paycheck. But then there are things like property taxes, et cetera, and people forget to put them in the budget.
Damn, that's taxes. A good one. That's a really good one.
That is
but not good enough.
So,
unfortunately, that did not make the list. And you know what's funny is that you get these. You know what surprises me, Doc, is not taxes in general, but it's when the tax bill goes up. I don't know about you guys, but the last couple of years, I've seen the tax bill. I've lived in the same house, and oh my goodness, I get the new tax bill, and I feel like I've moved. Because apparently I live in a different neighborhood than the one I live in. What are the tax bills that get you, Doc?
I dread the property tax every 6 months when it comes, because it always goes up no matter how much I fight. You know, you get the lawyer, you pay the lawyer to go and fight it. In the neighborhood I'm in, I feel like I pay more in property taxes than most people pay for rent or mortgage in a given year. So. What was that?
OG said scoreboard. Flex.
Like nice flex, dude.
Yeah. No, it's not that. It's not because I live in such an expensive house. It's just an expensive neighborhood. It's an expensive tax neighborhood.
Well, that is interesting because you choose to live in a college town that has a fairly high tax base, I would imagine, Doc.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, for the surrounding area, we pay more taxes than a lot of people do.
Have you ever thought about, we had a guy, even in Texarkana, if you live on the Texas side, the property tax is high. On the Arkansas side, your payroll tax is much higher, but but property taxes are lower. And we had a friend a couple of years ago who literally moved 2 miles just to lower the amount of tax that he pays. Have you ever thought about moving because of the fact that your tax is high enough?
We've considered it, but on the other hand, I kind of was born here and grew up here, and it's a place we like living. And the other thing is the whole county is high. So you're not just talking about moving out of Evanston, you're talking about moving out of Cook County, which is actually a much broader area. So I could move to, let's say, a neighboring county like Lake County, but that might be a 15, 20 mile move. So it's a bigger difference.
I think, Paula, the reason why it might not be on this list is because a lot of people roll this into their mortgage. Mm-hmm. Doc pays his twice a year outside of the mortgage. Mm-hmm. So do you advocate for one or the other?
Well, I mean, typically, oftentimes, if you have a mortgage, it automatically gets rolled in. So once you pay off your home and you own it free and clear, then yes, then it becomes something that you pay annually or biannually and do not forget it, because that's the one way that you can lose your home once your home is free and clear.
But if you've got the option to not escrow, would you say don't escrow, or is it better budget wise to go ahead and have it just picked up by the mortgage company?
Mathematically, it is better to not escrow, but behaviorally, it is better to escrow. And what I mean by that is mathematically, if you were to hold on to that, put it into some risk-free or low-risk type of investment like treasury bonds, and then pay it twice a year, yeah, you could arbitrage a little bit. But behaviorally, a lot of people, it's just another thing to manage. It's cognitive overhead, it's logistical overhead, and behaviorally, if you can always just escrow it and decide that you've got bigger fish to fry and take that same amount of energy and spend it on building out a side hustle.
Well, to Doc's point, that's a lot of money to come up with at one time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. OG, you on board with that?
Well, one of the major downsides with escrowing, excuse me, is the fact that the bank is the one that's in charge of it. So not only do you lose the interest, that you might make otherwise, which I agree with Paula, it could be quite negligible, but they also require you to have an extra reserve in your escrow account. So it's not just here's how much your tax bill is, here's how much your insurance bill is, and divide by 12. They're going to divide by 12 and then multiply by 30% more. So there's an excess buffer in there. So they're never caught with their pants down of like, oh, geez, your insurance premiums went up. We didn't know. And they get on the hook for it because if you escrow, then obviously they're the ones in charge of making those payments on time. So yeah, I think from an ease of operation standpoint, it's a lot easier to escrow it. But if you can budget it, or if you can just pinch your nose and swipe the credit card twice a year, like Jordan does, and then pay it off the next month when the credit card bill comes, you're probably okay.
Let's move on. Part of the fun, by the way, if you're new to our game shows, is that even when we get an answer that's not on the list, I love the discussions we have because we always have, some fantastic items that weren't there. We'll go to OG now. There's 15 things on the list that might escape the budget. What do you think is on this list?
I made a list while you were talking because when I have ideas, I need to write them down. I'm gonna say, oh boy, I have a couple of things I think are really good ones on here. I want to burn them now. I'm gonna say that most people don't budget for gifts. I think birthdays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Easter, Valentine's Day, Flag Day. Everything comes up and it's a surprise when it's like, oh, there's a party and I need to bring a gift.
National Cheeseburger Day.
Cheeseburger
Joe,
Day.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing, Joe?
Oh, that is on the list. Actually, Doug, not only is it on the list.
Did I get 2 points?
Doug, tell everybody where it's at.
It's the number one item on the list, Joe.
I win. Show's over, everybody.
This was number one in my family. When we started budgeting, my kids were young, when I was trying to get my financial house in order. And the thing that busted my early budgets were these two little proteges of mine would come home with a birthday party invite. And I realized I had to buy 2 damn gifts that were not in my budget for my kids to take to Chuck E. Cheese. This writer says it can be easy to overlook gift giving when you sit down to write your monthly budget. So often I would sit down, write out what I thought was a flawless budget. And then I realized I forgot about a gift I needed for an upcoming event. Keep track of those dates, reference them when you sit down to build your budget. If you're like me, when I started building my budget, I actually had to annualize this out because it's too bumpy. I had to annualize it out, figure out how much I gave on gifts per year, and then, take the average for the average month. Paula, was there ever a time when you were budgeting more close to the vest and had to look at gift giving?
Gift giving, no, but in a very closely related was travel associated with holidays. Because oftentimes during Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that, my family doesn't typically give gifts, but we would like to see one another.
The gift of each other.
My gift is me.
You're welcome.
So travel associated with holidays. There's a time that I would have to annualize that out.
Yeah, Doc, how about for you?
So since I never give anyone gifts, I never have issues with this. And here's the thing. If you never give gifts, you get invited to a lot less birthday parties and weddings.
Bam. There it is.
And so it's a gift unto itself that never
Joe,
stops giving.
There's a couple of easy solutions you could have had back then. One of which is don't have your kids show up with no gifts, and then they'll slowly stop getting invited altogether. Or just tell the parent, you have to tell your kid to invite the favorite of my two kids. Like, make them pick the friends. You get to invite one of my kids to your party.
I will rent you one of my kids for the afternoon.
Forget about the therapy bills for Nick later.
I would just show them my property tax bill, and they'd feel so bad for me. They'd let me get away without a gift.
That's it. I got to pay these. I live in Evanston. You have no idea. I can't be no idea. Gifts. Yes. All right. Mom/Doc have 0 OG scores a point. Paula, 14 still on the board. Where are you going?
I'm going to say deductibles and copays. You know, it could be for health insurance. It could be for repairs, like things that are not covered by homeowners insurance, meeting those deductibles, car repairs that are not covered by car insurance.
She's expanding her answer.
Well, yeah, hold on.
Yeah, I was about to say, you just took like my top 3.
There's lots of opportunity there.
I think
why don't we get rid of deductibles
was her
and
lead.
Choose one? Does she have to choose one, Doug? I think she has to choose an answer.
Damn well has to choose one.
Yeah, choose an answer.
So you mean between medical deductible, home deductible, and car deductible? Choose one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna choose car deductible.
You have chosen poorly.
Oh.
Well, hold on, Joe. What about number 2? Do we want to?
It's got to be number 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We'll give her number 2.
It's got to be number 2. Number 2 is car maintenance.
Yeah.
Maintenance.
That was my guess, darn it.
But see, well, the thing that threw me was deductible, because that has more to do with like insurance claims.
Those aren't even the same thing.
Right.
Not even the same category.
It is the same thing. You got to fix your car.
I'm already filing protests.
When you ran your car, when you ran your car through your wall, did you have to fix it?
Yes, but that wasn't an automobile maintenance expense. That's maintenance is tires and gas and oil.
That still is car. No. That's fixing your car. Yes.
No, fixing my car from an accident is something completely different. Maintenance is meant to sustain its life over a longer period of time.
Normal wear and tear, you're saying?
Solve the problem of a acute injury.
Unfortunately, the review board has
already... If I was maintaining my body, is it because I had a whole bunch of broken bones that needed to get casted? Or because I'm taking vitamins every morning? Which one?
Well,
vitamins.
How do you
Judges
feel?
are incorrect yet again.
I protest this outcome. I protest it.
Another game show under protest. Let's talk about car bills for a second. We just had like a $4,500 car bill. Like that is that is difficult to realize in the budget.
Was it due to an acute issue or a deferral of?
It was due to the fact that our car kept driving worse and worse, and it was pulling to one side. And so, and I don't drive this car most of the time. So I took it to my favorite place, and I said, I think I need my tires aligned too. And the guy said, well, we don't do the alignment. We just do the tires, but we got a place. So I take it to the place, and the woman at the place, when I go to pick it up, says, did you hit something recently? I said, no, we haven't hit anything. She goes, like maybe a huge pothole. I'm like, yeah, but that was like 3 years ago. She's like, well, it took out the front left spring and your tires. Like when I saw how our tire alignment had been since then, and because we hadn't had it fixed in 3 years, there was a ton of deferred maintenance. OG, I think was the word you used, that piled up. So yeah, not good. OG, you had a problem with door handles, I think, at one point.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, 15 years ago, I suppose, right? I don't even
Was it 15 years ago?
I don't even remember that whole story, but
this podcast isn't that old, but it sure feels like it was like $3,000 for this car you had to replace the door handle.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a Tesla has door handle problems.
Yeah. That's the problem with car maintenance is you have to do stuff often, right? You have to, I was just looking at my son's car as he was pulling out of the driveway and I was just like, those tires are bald. Like, when did the tires get bald? Like, now I have to go do new tires. In his case, he wouldn't know that, tires or getting an oil change when you're supposed to. It's an out-of-pocket expense that you think is unnecessary. But Joe, to your point, if you would have fixed or taken the car in right away when that, big pothole happened, you might have been able to fix the spring, which, the strut or whatever was broken immediately, and then save the wear and tear on the tires. That's why you rotate them. That's why you change the oil in your car, change the, blinker fluid. All those sorts of things are super important to change.
Rotate the air in your tires. You forgot that
Absolutely.
one?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We, Paul, our mutual friend, Mr. Money Mustache, Pete, loves the idea of riding his bike wherever he goes. You hear these numbers. You're somebody I would think that in Vegas probably had a car when you lived there. Maybe in Cincinnati, Atlanta, you had a car. I don't think you have one now in Manhattan, do you?
No, I do not. When I moved here, I had one, and then I actually gave it away for free. So to a good friend, to my best friend. So we're not like Orlando.
But just
does your best friend happen to also have a 501c3 designation?
She does not.
That was a miss.
No,
I know, right?
But tell us about not having the car in your budget. What's been the upside and downside of that?
Ooh, well, okay. So a place like Manhattan has amazing public transportation, and also it's reasonable to walk to a lot of places, right? So right now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'm at my office, which is a 30-minute walk from my home, right? So it's reasonable in a place like New York to have, places that are within a 30 to 45-minute walk, like a wide variety of places that are within walking distance. And for anything that's not in walking distance, it's very reasonable to take a subway, or there are these city bikes. Like, it's just a great public transportation area. And the reason that I emphasize that so much is because I know that most of the people who are listening don't live in a good public transportation city, and that in a lot of places necessitates a car. So, yeah.
But do you find it then a real pain in the ass when you leave Manhattan?
Oh, if I leave Manhattan, it's on an airplane. And if I need a car at that destination, I'll just rent one from the airport.
Just rent one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So still not a big deal. Well, that ends our first round. Our score after round one of today's competition, Doc G / Mom have 0. What am I talking about? OG has 1. Paula has 1. But you know what? Never fear, Doc G. Second round, 2 points. 2 points for your answer in the second round. We'll have that in just a moment. But we're going to interrupt this game, Meta, for another game, our year-long trivia competition that we have every single week here on the Stacking Benjamins Friday show. We actually do trivia every day, but it's a competition on Friday between our contributors. And we're going to play for another point here. Doug, what do we got going on today's trivia competition?
Hey there, Stackers. Gotta let you know, Alan Acorn is back. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and once again, the unusually noisy squirrel, Alan, that lives in my yard, is terrorizing me once again. I hung all of my socks out to dry on the banister of my porch yesterday, and that little tree-climbing rodent went and took one of each pair. I understand eating my plants, but my socks, what is he even doing with them? Unrelated, the neighborhood kids stopped by to hang out yesterday. I was inside using the air fryer when I heard a few of them talking on the porch. Must have really startled them when I went out there because they all jumped. They said they had stopped by to hang out since they think I'm so cool. I really think they're finally coming around and seeing me as something of an uncle figure, It's nice to see that change. I had to cut our chat short, though, because I was in the middle of cooking, but I gave them all popsicles and let them hang out on the porch while I went back inside. Next time I see them, I'll have to ask if they happen to see where that sneaky Alan ran off with my socks, that damn squirrel. Speaking of matching, today's trivia question is, what percentage of employers who offer a 401k plan offer at least some amount of matching contributions for their employees? I'll be back right after I finish ironing my underwear, as one does.
Of course, as you do. Yes, super. Doug's going to go take care of that. And that means also that Paula gets the last guest. OG's in the middle. Doc, you got first guest in this one too. What percentage of employers offer matching with their 401k?
22%.
It's spoken like a guy on a mission.
Confidence.
Either I totally know it or I have no flipping clue, and I'll let you decide which.
And that means that OG goes in the middle. What are you thinking, man? 22% from Doc. High or low?
Yeah. I want to walk through my logic, but I don't want to tell Paula what I'm thinking here. So I'm going to take the other side of that number and say 79%.
79. Wow, a wide moat there, Paula. Got 22 on one
Trying
end.
to have Paula figure out which side is she going to be on?
I'm going to capture the upside. So my guess is 79.1%.
You think it's even higher?
I think it's higher.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think with a 401k, most people are going to do matching because of all the rules that are associated with it. So I was
And my thinking is, it costs an employer money to administer a 401k. If you're laying out for 401k administration, you're probably going to offer some sort of matching.
I was trying to give you a difficult choice. Would there have been a number if I would have said like 87%? Would you still taking the upside?
Honestly, if I had been the first to guess, I would have said 90. So
yeah,
I was going to go.
okay.
I was going to go high.
See, I would have thought it would be much less than that. Maybe I'm way too low, but I've never had a job that's matched a 401k in all my life. So
Never had one ever.
Ever.
And
Never
you've worked for a few different employers, I would imagine, too,
Yep.
Doc.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this will be interesting. Is Doc right and it's low? Are OG and Paula right and the number's high? I don't know. We'll be right back. Doc, you kicked this thing off by saying 22%. Apparently, OG and Paula said nay. What are you thinking? Are you right or are they right?
Oh, they're probably right. Let's be honest. I have no illusions here, Joe. I have no illusions.
OG said 79%. Paula immediately took the high side of that. What are you thinking? Good or bad?
Yeah, I think it's in the 90s also. I was hoping to pick a number that would force Paula to take the under and thus giving me all of the upside. My strategy was unsuccessful.
Paula, he's a two-time champion. Does that make you feel better?
This one. Paula's got this one.
I feel good about this one. I feel confidence in my answer.
Well, Paula's felt confident before.
That's true.
that didn't really pan out. Let's see if Paula's going to, can I believe I'm saying this? Is Paula going to take the lead? Take the lead in this contest. Only Doug knows.
I already know, and it's so good. It's so good. Hey there, stackers. I'm unfortunate mismatching sock wearer and the number one job benefit of everyone I work with, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. You caught that, right? Yeah. Most employers offer at least some kind of benefits, whether it's health insurance, stock options, or free pizza on Fridays to help you forget that you're being underpaid. Today's trivia question is, what percentage of employers who provide a 401k plan offer at least some amount of matching contributions for their employees? According to the Investment Company Institute, as of December 2023, there are over 700,000 401k plans in the U.S., by far the most common type of employer-sponsored savings plan, with roughly 70 million active participants. If you're lucky enough to work for a company that'll match your contribution, cha-ching! If not, remember this is just icing on the cake, and you gotta save your own money anyways. A retirement plan is a nice tax shelter to help you toward financial independence. But what you're really wondering is, what's the answer? Well, what I can tell you right now, this is OG's favorite part, is that Doc was off by 29, just a skosh under. Paula was over by 28.1, meaning OG was over by 28, because the real answer is, of all the companies offering 401k plans, 51% will match your contribution in some way, which means OG is our winner by 0.1%. Oh, Paula, this one has to sting.
Wow.
Whoa. I would have said the 90s also.
They were all within 1% of each other.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, 1.1%, but yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no, but I was more right
1%,
than any.
you're right.
Yeah. That is
because Josh, both of them really wanted to vote in the 90s. So by being at 22, I was closer. They were just trying to outplay each other and happened to win accidentally.
Their gamesmanship
incredible.
barely won.
OG wins barely.
That was tight, man.
That was good. Wow.
I'm more energized now. I got some more interest in the rest of this show.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, can OG defend that lead? We're about to find out, because if you have short-term memory loss, what you don't remember was we were playing a different game. Second half of this game is brought to you by depositaccounts.com. Paula, you know what happens at depositaccounts.com?
You find out that the accounts in which you make deposits are nowhere near the best in class?
No, absolutely not. They could be so much better with many of the banks that are out there. No, I'm saying you're right, Paula. You're 100% right. So head to depositaccounts.com. And by the way, tune into Wednesday's episode where we went through how much money you're losing by not having money in a high yield savings account, having a good emergency fund plan. We walked through all that on Wednesday's show, and then head to depositaccounts.com to see just how bad it is for you and how good it could be. All right. Second half of this show underway. Doc, you are in last place, but you can move to first place because in the second round, you get 2 points instead of 1. You could be the leader here, my friend. What's another one that's on the board? We got 13 left.
So the deductible thing threw me off, but I'll go with what I still think is the right answer, which is unexpected healthcare costs. I mean, I think that people always underestimate what they're going to have to spend on healthcare. Yes, you are somewhat limited by copays and deductibles, but if there's a new medicine, if you end up in the ER and you didn't expect to, there's always something there you're not expecting.
Are medical bills on the list?
Ding, ding,
Medical
ding, ding,
bills
ding,
are
ding, ding.
Definitely on the list. Nice job. I mean, this is one, Doc, that this got so bad, Doc, that people, the credit agencies had to take this off of the credit report because so often it just became this mess of even trying to negotiate with hospitals. I mean, you're in this industry, so you know this better than most.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, I guess you could budget the maximum out of pocket every year, which would be a lot, you know, including your healthcare premiums and then copays, deductibles, and kind of measure that out. But, you know, there are a lot of healthcare costs which also just isn't covered by your benefits. Like people end up buying vitamins. They end up buying all sorts of orthopedic type stuff like wrist braces and all sorts of stuff. A lot of times you pay out of pocket for that. A lot of people don't go through insurance for those kind of things. And so, yes, people get in accidents and have all sorts of things they don't expect. But I think there are a lot of health related costs that we traditionally don't even think of through insurance.
Oh, gee, you found there was power in asking what the price is and maybe going around. You had insurance, I think, and you decided to pay out of pocket before for a procedure?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the major issues that everybody has with the healthcare world or insurance reimbursement world or whatever you want to call it. You know, whoever the puppet master is of this.
We still don't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's, the fact that there's no price before you have something done in the exception of an emergency type of an event. We've all had visits to our doctors or, tests, procedures, whatever. And it's like, cool. All right. Sounds great. How much is it? Like, yeah, we don't really know. Like, well, what do you mean? The case that you're talking about with me was a child that broke his arm and they're like, are you going to pay cash or are you going to bill the insurance? And I'm like, well, I don't know. How much is it? And they're like, we don't know. I'm thinking, is today your first day? Like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Work here?
I'm taking my kid to the doctor who has done this before. They're like, oh no, we do 1,000 broken arms a day. I'm like, then you must have some idea of how much it costs to do that. And anyway, the long and short of it was we gave them $500 as a deposit. We had to pay something right then, and they sent us a bill, said it was all covered. Like our $500 paid it in full. And when I kind of pressed that button a little bit more, they said, well, if we would have billed your insurance, we would have billed $2,000. And of course, since we have a high deductible plan, that $2,000 would have come to us. Either way, I was writing a check, right? And so I'm going, well, why the heck would it be $2,000 if I'm paying it because you sent this paperwork this way, and it's $500 because I paid it when you sent that paperwork that way? And people in the industry will say, well, here's the reason. There's, obviously there's some method to the madness there, but it is a little mesmerizing. This is a good one, Doc, because even if you do have budgeted as much as you can, really the only thing that I found that's successful here or that can help here is if you happen to have a high deductible plan and an HSA, to get to the point, like live on luck for long enough that your HSA balance gets to the point that you can absorb a year's worth of out of pocket, then I think you've got your lips above the water, so to speak, right? If you can build up your HSA, it's sitting in cash, and then start investing beyond that, that's great. But if you can get your HSA to, my max family out of pocket's $13,000. If I can get my cash and my HSA to $13,000, I feel pretty safe about a 1 year massive healthcare bill, that we can take. But that takes a while. It takes a while to build up to, and it takes a couple of years of not actually using it, right? Like you got some healthy years in a row. Teenage boys, those don't happen very often. So,
Paula, you had to design your own healthcare plan when you decided to go work for yourself. What were some of the factors that you thought about when looking at your budget on one side, the reason it's here and these big, huge expenses, and on the other side, building something that's going to make sure that you're healthy?
Yeah. So I've been buying my own health insurance out of pocket since prior to the ACA even. And back in those days, there were a lot of things that the ACA didn't cover. I'm sorry. There were a lot of things that insurance didn't cover. The ACA didn't exist yet. And so back then, my plan was that if I needed any type of major elective procedure, I would just I'd have to leave the country for it. So medical tourism, essentially, because that would be the most cost-effective way to get any type of non-emergency procedure done. So, for example, prior to the ACA, the insurance plan that I had didn't cover maternity, and it didn't have any kind of coverage for pregnancy or maternity. And so I remember at the time thinking, okay, well, if I were to start a family, then I would have to go to Thailand to make that happen. Right. Or I could go to Mexico, or I could go to Turkey is another really popular destination. But, that was always the plan. And then where that's shifted now is, now a lot more is covered, but now the expenses are so much higher. The premiums are just massive, massive, massive. And so what that has meant, and in my own life, where that's expanded is now I'm covering health insurance, not just for me, but also for full-time employees who work for Afford Anything, right? We're paying those premiums. And so that just has meant that a much, much bigger chunk of the budget goes to healthcare costs.
Wait a minute. Your podcast has health insurance? And by any chance, do you need an announcer?
We got to move on. It's time to move on. Look at the time.
Yeah, Joe, if you stop it right here, I win.
That's right.
I think folks, it's time to wrap it up.
He's like, we are done. Game, set, match. By the way, we're going to link this in the show notes. OG, back to what you were talking about. Scott Heiser was on the show. It was a great interview. He's a guy who is a healthcare expert and talks about always ask, no matter who is covering it, ask what the procedure costs. What does it? We need more people asking that question to keep cost in check, because often that person you talk to on the phone, to your story exactly, has no idea, partly because nobody ever asks. Well, and the funny thing,
I was just talking about health insurance, Paula, like you, we have a group plan for our employees for our planning firm. And I was talking about the impact of negotiating against yourself. And I remember this discussion a couple of years ago with group plan and the insurance agent who kind of runs it for us. It's November, and I'm sort of pestering him like, hey, I need the renewal stuff. We got to get this to our team so they can make decisions, whatever. And he comes back, he says, okay, we got the numbers. I think we did really good. It's only an 8% increase. And all I said was, I went, 8%, huh? That's a lot. And he goes, yeah, I think I can get him to 5. And I said, 5? And he goes, well, let me get back to you. And he called back a couple of days later and says, all right, I got him to a 4% increase. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I wasn't asking for a better price. I was just I was just like, wow, 8% a lot. I just put it with a little.
I just raised my eyebrows and got
I just went 8%.
100%
That's a
increase.
lot. Yeah, 8%. Oh yeah, I know. Five. Like you just, what was really interesting to me in that discussion was even the insurance people are full of crap. No offense. Like it's like they're just like, yeah, whatever. I think we can get them for $4,000 a month. I think.
Okay, fine.
Let's say I think $4,000 a month would be good. And to your point, like just by asking that question, it saves some money. I have a prescription medication and the doctor was like, it's going to be $1,000 a month. And I was like, I think you need to find a better idea. That's a plan, dude. Like try something new. And a couple days later they called me and said, well, we found a pharmacy that will ship it to us. And, and it will be this instead. It was much lower. So,
is it a Canadian pharmacy?
It is not. No, it's in the United States. It's a specialty, but anyways, it was. I don't know how long the discount will be. Like it's some sort of discount. But,
it's a pharmacy run. It's a pharmacy run out of a guy's van down by the river.
Yeah, it's the same guy that Doug uses for his pharmacological needs.
The ice cream truck.
The ice cream truck. My cash discounts.
My cat's asthma inhaler comes from a Canadian pharmacy.
Hold on. Stop everything. We are talking about that. I want to know what it looks like. I want to know how you administer this. I want to know how you seal the cat's lips around the inhaler.
It's got to be a nebulizer.
I want all of the details.
It's got to be a nebulizer.
So it's an inhaler. So it's a normal asthma inhaler, just the same kind that humans use. But there is an attachment. It's called the AeroCat. It's a chamber. So you put the inhaler on one side of the chamber, you puff it, right? And then it goes through, that puff travels through the chamber and into like a mouthpiece that forms a tight seal around the cat's nose and mouth. Now, the hard part is getting the cat really comfortable with not moving her head.
You think? You're not going to guess this. The hardest part is awesome. Not having your face ripped off by your cat as you try to affix the mask onto the cat. Face looks like hamburger.
Go ahead, Doug. Just keep running out the clock. Just run that clock.
Not to disrupt this fascinating conversation. But another thing Scott Heiser said, and Paula, to your point earlier about medical tourism, was you don't have to go out of the country sometimes. He talks about the big difference. He's in the Detroit area, just the difference between a clinic on one side of town and the other side of town. Like when you start asking what the price is, you might be able to lower your prices there. And we'll link to that fascinating episode about an area that really hurts a lot of people's budgets. All right. Doc G in the lead with 2. That means we go to OG. Can OG take the lead away from Doc?
I got 2 on here because we loosely gave Paula the auto expenses one.
Well, here's the deal. Let me tell you why that is, because now we have them both. She's like, well, your auto deductible or your medical deductible. Medical deductible is going to be your big cost for medical bills. That's going to be your big cost. But she said she said medical first, then she said auto. And then we asked her to pick one because medical would have been on there, kind of agree about auto. But then she went with auto, and Doug
so is medical deductible on there? Is that what you're saying?
We already
knocked it off. Doc just got it.
Oh.
It was like half an hour ago, so you probably forgot.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on cat inhaler from Canada.
It's the greatest story ever told.
I love all of God's creatures. But I'm not sure that I love them cat inhaler from Canada that much.
I don't think so.
I feel like it would be time to have my cat visit Dr.
It would be exactly OG what you said when your doctor said it was going to be $1,000. If my doctor said that Cooper, our cat, needed the asthma inhaler, I would have said we need a better. I wouldn't have said that.
And here's what I imagined happened prior to the prescription was, well, it turns out your cat's allergic to itself, and so it has asthma.
Doug loves cats, so I'm sure that's exactly what he thought.
All right, OG. We got 12 more on here, OG.
Oh, goodness. Can I generically say kids stuff? I want to say like kids, and here's kind of generically where I'm thinking. Like kids like sporting events, like, you know, school activities where they have to,
He's just
you know,
broadening
play
it out
field
as
trips.
much as he can. Just,
Can I just say
It's all kid related.
deductibles for
I'm just
kids?
saying, like,
Yes,
you know, you said, you know, we talked about gifts
electricity
before.
having to do with kids.
Is there anything, is any sort of
Car seats.
expense that comes out of your account that would be directly or indirectly child related expenses?
Well, gee, this is pretty unbelievable. But Doug, what is number 12 on this list?
Damn it.
Kid expenses.
Literally, it is kid expenses. Kids' expenses add up quickly. This writer says you can easily get nickel and dime with kids' expenses like field trips, school lunches and snacks, miscellaneous
That's what
school
I'm talking
fees,
about.
summer camp, sports fees.
College tuition.
Check out your kids' school and extracurricular calendars before you write your budget for your next pay period. This one,
You know,
this one
and
got me.
this is kind of an interesting thing because a lot of schools have gone to like an annual athletic fee, an annual school pack fee, so to speak. So, like, let's say your kid's going into 5th grade, and you know, the teachers say, well, I need markers and a ruler and all this stuff. And so instead of you going and get all those things, they go, or just buy from us. It's $250 and we'll have it on the kid's desk day one. You don't have to do anything. So, you know, look, I don't know that they're making a profit on it, but I'm sure they're not shopping like the least expensive markers or the least expensive box of tissues. You know, you have to bring 2 boxes of Kleenex and, you know, 5 colored pencils. And
Do they even give you the either or?
not at our kids' school. No, it's just part of the onboarding. You know, it's like here and then fall sports activity fee $300. You know, so that's your gym equipment, and if you play basketball or, you know, whatever it is, it's just the added thing. And then when there's field trips and summer camps, my son's in a essay writing camp this week for he's going to be a senior, so college applications start August 1st. So they're, you know, the writing department at his school is having a essay writing camp to help with his essays, and it's, you know, whatever it is, a couple $100,
$1 bajillion. Yeah. OG takes the lead. Paula, you've got a chance here to send it to overtime.
Ooh.
You can go for the tie.
On the subject of cat asthma inhalers coming from Canada, veterinary costs.
Is veterinary cost on there? The answer, it's a little broader than that. It's actually
Shocking.
pet expenses.
I think she was pretty clear about vet expenses, though, honestly.
If
These
you
are
have an older
bribes you
pet,
have to pay to your vet.
it says if you have an older pet or one with medical needs like a cat inhaler, you need a pet fund. Vet bills can get expensive quickly, even if you don't have pet insurance. You don't want to be cut off guard for pet medicine or surgery. We actually had a pet that we had a cat, and it turned out that our cat swallowed an eraser. And when we looked at doing the surgery, my dad's like, how are we going to tell the kids that I love my dad telling the story. How are we going to tell the kids that the cat's a member of the family until the cat has a medical issue? Like, is my little sister Nikki going to think, well, we got to put her down the second that things go bad?
Your dad's all like, meow, meow, meow.
So we have the expensive surgery. Turned out our cat ate an eraser shaped like a dog. So the joke in our family was the cat ate a dog. That's why it needed the expense. All right, we're going to overtime, everybody.
Swallowed a dog.
It's overtime here. Doctor, you can sit back because we have a bunch of lovely parting gifts for you, my friend. But here's what we're going to do, a little bit of a speed round. We have, how many left on the board? I think we have 11, right? Left on the board. We have 10 left. And so, Paula, you will get first guess because you came behind OG last year in the first round. Then we'll flip it if we go another round. What's another one that's on the list?
We've done gifts. We've done kid expenses. We've done pet expenses. We've done medical. We've done car.
Didn't you say this was a speed round, Joe?
No.
I know. I'm thinking the same. I'm like, thank God they picked Paula first. I'm thinking, I have no idea either. We might both have to take half
Time
a
has
point
expired. Moving on to Doc G.
That's right. Doc's got a chance to get back in it.
Okay. I'm gonna say fixing stuff around your home.
Is fixing stuff around the home on the list? It is.
Damn
Number
right
7
it
on
is.
the list is home maintenance cost. OG, that puts you in the hot seat, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. So pulling a Paula here. So we've done gifts and we've done auto expenses, cat inhalers, medical expenses. Oh, golly.
I can't figure out why our episode was 3 hours long.
Cars. Does anybody have airplane expenses? No, that wouldn't be it.
Yeah, airplane expenses.
I mean, they're a lot. They're unbudgeted. I can. This one's not going to be on there because everybody budgets it, but it's the only thing I got is travel. Like vacation, unexpected travel things.
Is vacation on the list?
Show is.
It is on the list. People
don't
often
budget for their vacations.
They do, but here's the reason why it's on the list. Is that what's that, Doc?
Funerals. You don't budget for funerals. People die. You got to fly see them.
A funeral's a vacation? What kind of sick vacations you taking?
Wow.
Doc's like, I don't even know the people. I just walk in trips. Yeah. No, the reason it's on the list, OG, and you've seen this before, you get to the nice place, you're having a great time, and you decide to splurge, right? So even if you have a vacation fund set aside, this is a place that normally the expense comes up and everybody looks and goes, no, we got to go to see the greatest, the biggest underground lake in Tennessee, which we totally did because we happen to be here. So vacation fund over expense. That means we go to another round. OG, you're still on the clock then. We now have 8 left.
All right. So what else haven't we covered yet? It wasn't taxes. That one can blow it up. How about debt payments, credit card payments, interest on said credit cards, cost of borrowing. There we go. Cost of borrowing. An all-encompassing answer of cost of borrowing.
Is cost of borrowing on the list? However, that's a good one. I think, OG, when people do that back of the envelope math, they always forget that payment. They always forget the extra. I remember I did when I had my credit card debt.
That's not much solace, thank you, but okay.
I'm like, I'm going to put $500 toward this and I'll have $500 available. Apparently, that's not the way it works. Paula, chance to win. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud.
Woo! I'm going to say upgrading your technology, like upgrading your phone, upgrading your laptop.
Phone, laptop, technology. It's another good one, not on the list. Paula, you get to go again.
Okay. Spikes in utility bills that happen seasonally. So depending on where you live, either your air conditioning, if you're in Florida, your air conditioning spikes in the summer. If you're in, Wisconsin, your heating spikes in the winter.
Keep your finger on that button, Joe.
Welcome to the 30th hour of our game show. These are all good. I wish we could talk about them. These are
might
great.
be time to just call it a tie.
I think you ask me and you let me give a shot and have them vote if they think I'm going to get it right or wrong. And that way someone wins.
I will delegate my answer to Doc G.
Nope.
As my proxy.
Nope. Next round, we can go to to tiebreaker.
So I have to think of something.
Yep.
Okay.
You think of something.
All right. So kids stuff, travel, insurance. We already talked about
Insurance.
House maintenance. Does yard maintenance count as house maintenance? Probably. I mean, do people not budget dining out? I want to say food, yes. Dining out it seems like a budget that it should be on your budget.
Is dining out on the list?
Yeah, sure. Entertainment
that's like
money,
a budget
baby.
buster.
Entertainment, overdoing it on the entertainment money. Again, much like the vacation fund, you're out, you're having fun, and you're like, let's just get a second round of drinks. Let's just get Steak Brother. We can get the really expensive steak. Entertainment overdoing it. That means the winner is OG taking home 3.
We can't even keep track of it because there's
3 points. We have no idea.
Now that
the
that's
other
over,
ones?
we're all the winners.
Can I guess just for funsies? Can I tell you what my next guess would have
It
been?
wasn't fun
Yeah,
before,
I'd
but
love-
now it is.
At STD clinic.
I was gonna say like haircuts, right?
It is
personal care.
haircuts.
Personal care.
Haircuts,
yeah.
haircuts, and
That's a good
personal
one.
care.
Haircuts is on there,
list.
How
specifically
about
haircuts.
legal costs? I mean, you don't always have
legal
them, but-
costs. No. The other one's on the list. Number 15, by the way, is not it is just a buffer. And so there truly were only 14. Clothing, overdoing it on your clothing budget, blowing out the clothing budget was one. Memberships, people always forget.
Oh,
The
subscriptions.
membership subscriptions. The holidays. This was always a big one when I was a financial planner. The holidays kill people.
One of you said that when you were rambling through possibilities. Somebody said
Yeah.
holidays, gifts,
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
say
Yeah.
gifts. Yeah. So speaking of subscriptions, funny story. I have never looked in all the years I've had Hulu. I've never looked at the receipt. Like you get an email that says, "Here's your Hulu receipt," and I was like, "Whatever," and I always delete it. And so for whatever reason, I accidentally clicked it on my phone, and I have 2 Hulu subscriptions, one with ads and one without ads. So for God knows how many years I've been paying for 2 Hulu subscriptions, and I can't even tell you the last time I turned on Hulu.
So there's a lot of good stuff on Hulu. You should.
No, the last time he's turned on Hulu with ads, Doug.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, or without, for that matter. But it's all lumped together with other things now. You get Hulu with Spotify.
I get it
or
with
Disney or
Verizon.
something.
Yep.
Yeah,
with something.
Next up, and this is a big one. How many times is you've house guests that come to town, and you end up splurging because the guests are there. And then last is personal spending money. That you've got this personal spending money, whatever it might be. That's your thing du jour that you do. Yeah, those are it. By the way, this is written by Allison Baggerly at Inspire Budget. Big thanks to Allison for this piece. It was nice. When I saw this, I went, ooh, we've got a game show here. So thanks to Allison.
Game show idea.
And we will link to Allison's piece here. But let's also link to what you guys are up to. OG, what's going on this fine post weekend after Father's Day weekend? Back to regular weekends.
Another beautiful trip up to Michigan. Went to Michigan last weekend, Michigan this weekend, and Michigan next weekend.
Oh, that's fun. Don't get me wrong. When you get there, it's beautiful, but that travel schedule
Just
is
stay here.
We'll be up for good next week.
so beautiful this time of year. And if you, as they always said in West Michigan, where I lived, if you love it, shut your mouth. Tell nobody. Paula, what's going on at the Afford Anything podcast?
So on the Afford Anything podcast, last week we did a monthly economic update talking about what's happening in the economy right now, everything from the latest Federal Reserve meeting to the CPI, to the jobs report. So all of that.
Did you talk about how OG's family is really propping up the economy?
Single-handedly propping up the
one family in Dallas.
So that's all in the monthly economic update. We also have an interview with Brian Klass. That one is audio only. You won't find it on YouTube.
Love that guy.
But if you go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, interview with Brian Klass, who talks about basically chaos theory as it applies to real life or as it applies to events. So he talks about the randomness of life and how we can plan and make decisions despite the randomness of life. And then we also have a star from The Bachelorette, Jason Tartick. He was, I think, season 14 of The Bachelorette. He got eliminated in week 9. But before he was a Bachelorette star, he was a banker with an MBA. And he joins us to talk about relationships and money.
I remember.
And that one you will find on YouTube.
and he's speaking of, we were talking about was it today or Wednesday, talking about handsome people. He's a handsome dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good looking dude. Very smart too. He knows finance very, very well. And he knows, especially because of The Bachelor. If you think about banker turned bachelorette, it is the perfect intersection of money and relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
It was Wednesday show, Joe, when I said that's how I pick my investment funds, is by how hot the fund manager is.
That's right. If he or she is good looking.
Right. Because good looking people are more successed. So if there's ever a criteria, that's why Jason was so successful and why he's on Paula's show.
Yeah, Paula, we were talking about on Wednesday's show about how somebody gave somebody advice online that you look at the expense ratio first. And Doug said, no, you look at how hot they are first. That is clearly the rubric. Doc, thanks for hanging out with us again, man.
Yeah, another loss at the trivia.
It's all right.
Live through it, but
you were only 1% away when it came to the middle trivia. That you were right there, man.
I know, but sometimes 1% is it's a vast number. It compounds over time. 1% can really kill your wealth. So.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about making people money by listening to Earn and Invest. What do you got?
Sure. This week we have Rose Lounsbury on talking about her book, The Achievement Addict. We talk about how achievements can serve us, but sometimes they don't. And some people have the personality trait of being addicted to achievement and how it doesn't always get them what they want. And then later, after this show, my next episode will be Kirsten and Julian Saunders from Rich and Regular talking about, of all things, fintech, something we don't spend a huge amount of time talking about on my show. And so we had a really good conversation about it.
The Rich and Regular team talking fintech.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And we'll be in their neck of the woods for FinCon this year. We'll be in Atlanta where they are.
Yep.
Which will be fun. Paula back in her old stomping grounds in Hotlanta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Should be great. And that is on the Earn and Invest podcast. Again, we're a finer podcast. Our founder will link to Earn and Invest and Afford Anything on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. It's time for us to say goodbye. Thanks to everybody who hung out with us on YouTube. If you want to hang out with us on YouTube and watch this train wreck getting made, we had so much fun making it. Come join us and say hello. You can find out the time and day in our Facebook group, which is called Mom's Basement. Just put in Stacking Benjamin's Basement and you'll find us, and come join us on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who's here. All right, that's going to do it for today. Doug, you got it from here, man. What's on our to-do list to take away from today's episode?
Well, Joe, here's what's stacked up on our to-do list for today. First, take some advice from the concept of today's game show. By knowing what can knock you off your budget, you're more likely to include these items so that when bad times come a-knocking, your budget doesn't start a-rockin'. I just made that up on the spot. High five. High five. Second, don't forget about making a budget in the first place. Sure, you might forget a few items, but the important thing is to get started on understanding what your monthly spending is. But the big lesson? Don't bother asking Joe's mom to match your inheritance from her to Joe's inheritance to him. I mean, apparently, being like a son and being a son come with completely different benefits. What a double standard, Ma! Thanks to Doc G for joining us today. You'll find our partner show, Earn and Invest, wherever you're listening to us now. We'll include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. You'll find out more about her cat's inhaler and other feline maladies on her fabulous podcast, Afford Anything, featuring our own Joe Saul-Sehy once a week, wherever you listen to finer podcasts. I'm wheezing just thinking about that. Thanks also to Allison Baggerly, who wrote the piece that inspired today's chat. You'll find more pieces about your budget at inspiredbudget.com. And finally, thanks to OG for joining us today. Looking for good financial planning help? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2024, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Our producer is Karen Repine. Karen and Joe get help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.